The galaxy had changed since first contact. Humanity found itself thrust into an ancient web of alliances, treaties, and cold wars between species that had been spacefaring for millennia. While some alien civilizations welcomed Earth as a fresh voice in galactic politics, others saw humans as naive upstarts who needed to learn their place. Ambassador Lyra Harrison stood at the viewport of her quarters aboard the diplomatic vessel Aurora, watching distant stars streak past. In her 15 years of diplomatic service, she'd never faced a mission quite like this one. The Draknid Imperium had requested Earth's presence at emergency peace talks on the neutral world of Centauri Prime, following a series of border skirmishes that threatened to escalate into full-scale war. The Draknids were among the oldest spacefaring races, reptilian warriors who valued strength above all else. Their expansionist policies had brought them into conflict with numerous species, but their technological superiority often meant negotiations ended on their terms. This time was different. Earth's rapid advancement in defensive technologies had caught their attention. "Ambassador, we're approaching Centauri Prime," her AI assistant chimed. "The other delegations have already arrived." Lyra straightened her formal diplomatic uniform, a blend of traditional Earth styling and modern galactic fashion. At 38, she was young for an ambassador, but her track record of successful negotiations had earned her this position. She couldn't shake the feeling that something felt off about this summit. The Aurora docked at Centauri Prime's orbital diplomatic center, a massive structure of gleaming metal and crystalline windows. Security protocols were supposedly ironclad, weapons were forbidden, and multiple neutral species provided peacekeeping forces. Yet as Lyra made her way through the sprawling complex to her assigned quarters, she noticed an unusual number of Draknid guards in the corridors. The first day of negotiations proceeded normally, with various species presenting their grievances and proposed solutions. The Draknid delegation, led by High Commander Vex, remained surprisingly cordial. During a recess, Lyra received an encrypted message from Earth intelligence warning of unusual Draknid fleet movements, but before she could investigate further, her quarters lost power. The backup systems failed to activate. In the darkness, Lyra heard the soft hiss of her room's atmosphere being vented. Her emergency breather activated automatically, but something was wrong. The air tasted sweet, artificial. As consciousness faded, she glimpsed scaled figures in stealth suits entering through a hidden panel in her wall. She awoke in a cell that defied description. The walls seemed to shift and move, making it impossible to focus or maintain any sense of direction. Her diplomatic implants had been deactivated, cutting her off from Earth's networks. Through waves of disorientation, she realized she was aboard a Draknid vessel, far from Centauri Prime's supposed safety. "Comfortable, Ambassador." The voice belonged to the High Commander Vex, though she could only make out his silhouette through the shifting walls. "Your species has advanced quickly, too quickly. We need to understand how." "This is a violation of galactic law," Lyra managed, fighting against whatever drugs they'd used. "Earth will." "Earth will do nothing," Vex interrupted. "By the time they realize you're missing, we'll be deep in Draknid space. Your disappearance will be blamed on pirates. Tragic, but not uncommon in these troubled times." Over the next several days, Lyra endured questioning that grew increasingly aggressive. The Draknids were convinced humans had discovered some secret to accelerated technological development, something that explained their rapid rise from planetary civilization to galactic power. When diplomatic questioning failed to yield answers, they turned to more primitive methods. Through it all, Lyra held on to one truth they hadn't discovered. Earth's advancement wasn't due to any stolen technology or cosmic secret. It was driven by something the Draknids couldn't understand. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't in weapons or shields, but in its unity of purpose, its ability to learn and adapt, and its unwavering determination to protect its own. What the Draknids didn't realize was that they hadn't just captured a diplomat. They had triggered a response that would shake their empire to its foundations. Deep within Earth's most secure facilities, an alarm was already sounding. The disappearance of an ambassador might seem like a minor incident in galactic politics, but humanity had long prepared for such a moment. Now, a force the Draknids never knew existed was about to be unleashed. As Lyra drifted between consciousness and delirium in her cell, she couldn't know that her ordeal would become the catalyst for revealing humanity's most closely guarded secret, a program developed not for conquest or power, but for moments exactly like this, when diplomacy failed and the only language left was action. Deep within a classified facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Diana Reeves stood before a wall of holographic displays, each showing different angles of Ambassador Harrison's last known location. The room hummed with activity as intelligence officers sifted through data streams, trying to piece together what had happened at Centauri Prime. "Show me the temporal analysis again," she ordered. The central display shifted, revealing a timeline of events leading up to the ambassador's disappearance. The power failure in the diplomatic quarters hadn't been an isolated incident. Microscopic fluctuations in the station's power grid suggested a coordinated cyber attack, one bearing the distinctive signatures of Draknid technology. A secure channel opened, and Dr. Kaipatal's weathered face appeared on screen. As head of Project Nemesis, Earth's most classified military program, his presence confirmed the gravity of the situation. "The biometric data from Ambassador Harrison's implants went dark 3 days ago," he reported. "But we managed to capture some interesting readings before losing contact. They're using some kind of neural interrogation technology." Diana's jaw tightened. The Draknids had crossed a line they couldn't uncross. "Activate Chimera Squad," she commanded. "Full deployment authorization." Dr. Petal's eyes widened. "General, Chimera Squad hasn't completed their final training cycle. The neural augmentations are still—" "They're ready enough," Diana interrupted. "The Draknids think they can torture our people with impunity. It's time they learned otherwise." Deep within the facility's restricted levels, 12 stasis pods hummed to life. Inside each, a volunteer soldier who had undergone radical transformation stirred from artificial sleep. They were Chimera Squad, humans enhanced with cutting-edge biotechnology and neural augmentations that pushed the boundaries of what was possible. Squad leader James Chen opened his eyes, neural implants already feeding him mission data. His team had trained for years for this moment, though they never expected their first deployment would come so soon. The augmentations made them stronger, faster, and more resilient than any normal human, but it was their linked consciousness that made them truly formidable. Their prep room looked like a cross between an armory and a medical bay. As the squad suited up, technicians attached neural interfaces and calibrated their quantum mesh armor, technology that existed because humanity had learned to combine the scientific knowledge of multiple alien species in ways their original creators never imagined. "Mission parameters are clear." James addressed his team through their neural link. "We locate Ambassador Harrison, extract her from Draknid custody, and make sure they never attempt something like this again. Our existence has been Earth's best-kept secret. After today, we'll be its most powerful deterrent." Intelligence had tracked the Draknid ship to a hidden facility on the edge of their territory. The facility's existence wasn't recorded in any official database, suggesting it was where the Draknids conducted their most sensitive and likely illegal operations. The Chimera Squad's ship, the Shadow Dancer, was as much a product of forbidden science as they were. Its quantum drive could slip through space without leaving ripples in the dimensional fabric that most species used for detection. Its hull absorbed or reflected all known forms of scanning technology. As they approached Draknid space, James received a final transmission from General Reeves. "Remember your training, but remember this too. You're not just soldiers. You're a message. The galaxy needs to understand that humanity's apparent weakness is a choice. We prefer peace, but we're more than capable of war." The Shadow Dancer slipped past Draknid patrols like a ghost, approaching the hidden facility. Through their linked consciousness, the squad could sense each other's thoughts and emotions. They felt James's cold determination, Lieutenant Sarah Wong's calculated anger, and the focused precision of their combat specialist, Marcus O'Neill. Initial scans of the facility revealed its true nature. It wasn't just a detention center, but a research installation where the Draknids studied captured specimens from various species. The thought of what Ambassador Harrison might have endured there fueled the squad's resolve. They think they're the apex predators of the galaxy. James transmitted to his team as they prepared for insertion. Time to show them what humanity's been keeping in reserve. Remember, we're not just here for the Ambassador. We're here to make sure this facility never holds another prisoner again. As the Shadow Dancer settled into a stealth orbit, the squad made final preparations. Their augmented bodies thrummed with power, neural networks synchronized, quantum mesh armor adapting to match the facility's electromagnetic signature. The Draknids were about to learn that their assumptions about human capabilities had been dangerously wrong. The Chimera Squad moved through the Draknid facility like shadows, their quantum mesh armor rendering them nearly invisible. Through their neurolink, they shared a perfect awareness of their surroundings. Security systems registered nothing as they bypassed multiple checkpoints, their tech effortlessly overriding Draknid protocols. James led the team deeper into the facility, following traces of human biosignatures. The architecture became increasingly oppressive, walls of dark metal lined with pulsing energy conduits. Through captured security feeds, they witnessed scenes that made their enhanced blood boil. Cells containing beings from dozens of species, all subjects of Draknid research. Primary target located, Lieutenant Wong transmitted. Level 4, Section 7. Biosignature matches Ambassador Harrison. Life signs stable but irregular. The squad split into 3 teams. Team 1 would secure the Ambassador. Team 2 would download the facility's research data, evidence of Draknid war crimes. Team 3 would plant quantum demolition charges at key structural points. James led Team 1 toward the Ambassador's location. They encountered their first resistance at a security checkpoint. 4 Draknid guards in battle armor. Before the aliens could react, the squad struck. Their augmented speed made the Draknids seem to move in slow motion. Neuro-linked combat protocols executed with machine precision. 4 seconds later, the guards lay unconscious. No shots fired, no alarms triggered. The squad moved on, leaving no evidence of their passage. They found Ambassador Harrison in an interrogation chamber. The sight of her condition triggered something primal in their enhanced minds. She was suspended in a containment field, neural probes attached to her temples. Despite obvious signs of torture, her expression remained defiant. Cell block security systems isolated. Marcus reported through the link, initiating mass containment field shutdown. Throughout the facility, force fields disappeared. Holding cells opened. Confused prisoners looked toward freedom for the first time in months or years. The diversionary chaos would cover their extraction. James deactivated the ambassador's containment field, catching her as she fell. Her eyes widened at the sight of her rescuers. Their armor seemed to bend light itself, and there was something inhuman about their movements. "We're here to take you home, Ambassador," James transmitted, his voice modulated through his helmet. "Earth sends its regards." Alarms finally blared as Team 2 completed their data extraction. The facility's true purpose was now documented. The Draknids had been conducting illegal experiments on sentient beings, searching for biological secrets to enhance their own species. All charges planted, Team 3 confirmed. Detonation sequence primed. The squad moved toward their extraction point, encountering heavy resistance. Elite Draknid shock troops poured into the corridors, but they were unprepared for what they faced. The squad's neural link allowed them to fight as a single organism, each member instinctively covering the other's positions. Their quantum mesh armor absorbed energy weapons, while their own specialized armaments, designed specifically to counter Draknid defenses, cut through enemy ranks. They weren't just winning, they were demonstrating a level of combat efficiency that would haunt Draknid military doctrine for years to come. "Be sure to leave one conscious," James ordered as they fought through another security team. "They need to be able to report what they saw here." They reached the extraction point with Ambassador Harrison secure. Behind them, freed prisoners were overwhelming the facility's remaining security forces. As the Shadow Dancer decloaked for pickup, James activated a facility-wide broadcast channel. "To the Draknid High Command," he transmitted, "your secret facility has been compromised. Its data cores have been copied. Evidence of your crimes will reach every major power in the galaxy. Consider this a message. Humanity's restraint is not weakness. We prefer peace, but we are prepared for anything else." The Shadow Dancer disappeared into quantum space, just as the facility's reactor reached critical mass. The explosion would leave nothing but debris, and questions the Draknids wouldn't want to answer. In the ship's medical bay, Ambassador Harrison watched her rescuers with a mix of awe and concern. "What are you?" she asked finally. "We're humanity's response," James replied, removing his helmet to reveal eyes glowing with neural augmentation. "The part of humanity that exists because the galaxy isn't always ready for peace." The Shadow Dancer's return to Earth was interrupted by an urgent transmission from General Reeves. "Multiple Draknid battle fleets are mobilizing. They're not just angry, they're scared. The data you recovered shows they've been experimenting with prohibited technologies on dozens of species. If this gets out, they'll lose everything." The Chimera Squad's success had triggered an unexpected crisis. The Draknids, facing exposure of their crimes, had chosen aggression over accountability. Their fleets were moving to attack human colonies, hoping to force Earth's silence. Ambassador Harrison, still recovering in the medical bay, watched tactical displays with growing horror. "They're willing to start a war to keep their secrets," she said. "And they still don't understand what they're facing." James and his squad received new orders. The Draknids had to be stopped, but conventional warfare would cost millions of lives. They needed a surgical strike at the heart of Draknid power, their central command facility on their homeworld. The squad's neural enhancements had discovered something in the stolen data that even the Draknids didn't know. Their leadership used neural networks to coordinate their fleets, networks that could be compromised by someone with the right capabilities. "It's a suicide mission," Dr. Prittle warned during the briefing. "Their homeworld defenses are impenetrable." "Nothing's impenetrable," James responded, his augmented eyes gleaming. and they've never faced anything like us. The Shadow Dancer slipped through Draknid space, using paths the enemy never knew existed. The squad's neural link had evolved, allowing them to process tactical data in ways their creators hadn't thought possible. They weren't just soldiers anymore. They were becoming something new. Lieutenant Wong discovered their advantage first. The Draknid neural networks operated on principles similar to their own enhancements. With the right access, they could turn the enemy's greatest strength into a catastrophic weakness. They infiltrated the central command facility using intelligence no one was supposed to have. The Draknids had grown overconfident, never imagining anyone could breach their innermost sanctum. The squad moved through command centers and security stations, their presence masked by systems they now partially controlled. In the facilities core, they found something unexpected, evidence that the Draknids were planning to deploy their experimental bioweapons against human worlds. The stakes weren't just about justice anymore. It was about preventing genocide. The squad split up to execute their most ambitious hack yet. While James and Wong worked to access the neural network, Marcus discovered that several Draknid leaders were physically connected to the system. What had seemed like a command center was actually a vast organic computer. "We can shut them down," Wong transmitted, but the feedback could kill them. James faced the hardest decision of his command. They had come to deliver a message, not commit mass murder. But with Draknid fleets approaching human space, time was running out. That's when Ambassador Harrison, who had insisted on joining the mission, stepped forward. "Let me talk to them first. They need to understand the choice they're making." Using the neural network, Harrison's words reached every connected Draknid leader. She showed them the evidence of their crimes, the consequences of war, and offered a final chance for peace. The Draknids' response was immediate and violent. Orders went out to begin the attack. James gave the signal, and the squad initiated their cyber attack. The neural network exploded with chaos as human-designed algorithms tore through Draknid defenses. The facility erupted in panic as systems failed and leaders collapsed. But the squad had done something more subtle than simply attacking. They had forced the Draknids to experience the pain they had inflicted on others, to feel the consequences of their actions through their own neural technology. The aftermath of the neural assault rippled through Draknid society. Their fleet commands dissolved into chaos as the neural network collapsed. But the Chimera Squad's hack had done more than disable their military capability. It had forced a moment of profound cultural change. Through the compromised network, every connected Draknid had experienced the memories of their victims. Not just Ambassador Harrison's ordeal, but the suffering of countless species who had endured their experiments. The emotional impact shattered centuries of ingrained superiority. In the central command facility, James watched as proud Draknid leaders struggled with their new reality. Some collapsed in horror at what they'd been part of. Others raged against the humans who had humbled them. But all of them understood. Humanity had beaten them not through superior firepower, but by turning their own technology against them. Ambassador Harrison, standing among her rescuers, addressed the fallen leaders. "You wanted to understand humanity's strength. This is it. We advance not by dominating others, but by learning from them. Your own neural technology, combined with our innovations, created something you never imagined possible. We're offering you a choice, evolution or extinction." The Draknid response came not from their military command, but from their civilian leadership. The experiments had been conducted without their knowledge, and the revelations sparked a political revolution. Within hours, orders went out recalling the attack fleets. Within days, the Draknid Imperium sued for peace. The Chimera Squad's existence became public knowledge, but not as a weapon. They were revealed as guardians, proof that humanity had developed its greatest advances not for conquest, but for protection. Other species, long intimidated by Draknid power, began seeking closer ties with Earth. In the aftermath, the facility's data revealed hundreds of secret research sites across Draknid space. Joint task forces, including reformed Draknid scientists, worked to free prisoners and dismantle the illegal research programs. The technology developed by the Chimera program helped heal victims of the experiments. 1 month after the crisis, Ambassador Harrison stood before the Galactic Council. Her testimony, combined with the evidence recovered by the Squad, led to comprehensive reforms in interstellar law. The Draknids, under new leadership, became advocates for these changes, their society transformed by their moment of forced empathy. The Chimera Squad continued to evolve. Their neural enhancements, combined with their experience in the Draknid network, had changed them in unexpected ways. They became bridges between organic and digital existence, helping guide the development of technologies that would benefit all species. James's final report to General Reeves contained a profound observation. The Draknids thought they could torture us into revealing our secrets. They never understood that humanity's greatest strength isn't in our weapons or our technology. It's in our ability to turn enemies into allies, to learn from our differences, and to fight not for dominance, but for justice. On the anniversary of the crisis, representatives from dozens of species gathered on Earth. The former research victims, their Draknid healers, and the Chimera Squad stood together as living proof that evolution was better than extinction, that understanding was stronger than fear. Ambassador Harrison, now Earth's senior diplomatic advisor, watched the gathering with satisfaction. The scars of her ordeal remained, but they had led to something revolutionary. Humanity had proven itself, not by conquering the greatest power in the galaxy, but by showing them a better way to exist. The message had been sent and received. Earth's apparent patience wasn't weakness, and its greatest weapon wasn't the ability to defeat its enemies. It was the power to transform them into friends.